For the thousands in the comments and the millions listening on YouTube Premium.
Welcome to the season 1 finale of Knitro, where it's a special episode. We are watching the final live broadcast of 1995 of WCW Starrcade 1995, and we are counting all the inappropriate racist comments they make about Japan. Now, beyond that, there's also a great triangle match. Or an intriguing triangle match, I should say, and a clusterfuck of a finale. It's going to be a wonderful recap. Welcome. Thank you for taking this journey through 1995 with us. It's Rob here. I got Jordan and Bo coming in with us.
Hello.
And I just want you to know you're never going to see that piece of garbage Colin Young on this show again. You wanted too much money. He created control my ass.
You guys are only getting real podcasters like Bo Looters, Rob Pasbani. Let's get it going.
For too many years, Colin has been holding up these up and comers down. Not anymore. No, we love Colin. Bro. He's just very busy.
Busy boy. This pay-per-view.
Yes. For initial thoughts.
It was smaller than I was expecting. Some of the Nitros were like more grand in the setup.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We have Tony and Bobby in tuxes, and we got Dusty in half tux, half jeans.
Dude.
And no Pepe, which was a bummer because I expected him to be wearing a tux.
Oh. Tux Pepe.
We never got there was never a formal Pepe. At least not this year.
Only informal. Yeah. He's very informal.
I'm with you. This is a strange event. First off, the Dusty Rhodes outfit. I'm going to events like that. Big jeans, he had the fanciest tuxedo jacket.
Yeah.
He had tails.
Yeah, the tails, yeah.
Tails, and then just like a black button up and Y2 cunt glasses. Unbelievable.
They made jokes about not being able to understand Dusty within the first 5 minutes.
Dude,
that's Dusty commentary. That's what's so great about having Dusty there. He is the unintentional comedian to Bobby Heenan's intentional comedian.
But they just beat that horse all night, 3 hours.
All night.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what he's saying?
Yeah, and you know that's not the first time.
No,
they didn't just come up with that on the fly. It's like, oh my god.
Oh yeah. Well, like Dusty has that kind of like drunk, lovable uncle at the cookout kind of, or like the barbecue kind of vibe where you see him every few weeks, and it's like everyone loves him, but then he gets too many sodas in him and he's going off. And what was crazy is I feel like the further into the show we got, Tony and Bobby kind of got tired and Dusty was just getting more energy.
Yeah.
Whereas like he was calling the main event, it seemed like, and they were doing the color. He was like turning into a promoter. Like, this is the biggest night in the history of our sport. We got Ric Flair go for his 12th title belt, baby. He's gonna do it. These
I loved him.
17-time world champion.
I thought it was great. I really actually liked him. And it's so funny.
This is the best WCW commentary combo. Tony, Bobby, and Dusty. If only Pepe was there, I agree. But Dusty adds so much more, like, compared to Mongo, because he has the silly one-liners that don't make sense. Plus, he actually is funny and like provides insight because he's a legend
and was like a formidable wrestler forever with all of these guys too. So it's like he knows like exactly what he's gonna say.
Like the most famous babyface ever is Dusty Rhodes.
Was he always a babyface?
Oh yeah. Was there a heel Dusty Rhodes? Rob?
We not during his main run, no. I don't think.
Huh.
His main run was all babyface.
Yeah. I like he's he's like, his babyface run is like pre-Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania.
Wow.
Oh, Hulk Hogan openly admits that he stole from Superstar Billy Graham and Dusty Rhodes. Those were his two inspirations. So, yeah, without Dusty Rhodes, there'd be no Hulk Hogan.
Dusty Rhodes
Dusty's the best.
He is it is like I love every piece of this. Like when he gets called out for like, what are you talking about? I love it. He's always going like, I was doing my soliloquy. I was filibustering for him, baby.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
That's the way the salami falls. It's just like, what are you talking
That's the
about?
thing. Like Dusty's totally self-aware of how ridiculous he is, and he leans into it. He loves it. He's fine.
Yeah.
with it. He has the utmost confidence in himself to know that, like, yeah, I said something stupid. So what? It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. I like that.
I like that too. I love that he has this very specific personality and way of speaking, and the rest of his family is absolutely nothing like it. Like not an ounce of that is in Dustin or Cody or anyone related. Like this is like Dusty is an enigma, and I think it's
Goldust did the weird like stuttering shit eventually. The
did?
the Three
But as a bit.
Stooges.
Oh.
Yeah, but like, you know, he did it. He did like.
Yeah, for Dusty, I don't think it's a bit.
You don't think so? Well, he leans into it. You know what I mean? I don't think if he's going.
Yeah. He gets
he's going
excited.
to
I mean, he's
court,
playing
he's
a
not-
character,
yeah,
but
right.
it's him to 11, as they
Yeah.
say.
What do we
That's
have first?
beautiful.
Benoit.
Well, first, I want to say that like the first line of the pay-per-view is the Japanese are invading WCW, which, oh boy, what a night. How many times did they say rickshaw? How many times, did they, we don't have to like really keep too much count, but it was like blatant.
They did say rickshaw.
And if I could just say something about this tournament, it makes absolutely no sense to me because it isn't like now where you could access New Japan Pro Wrestling. They have a over-the-top network. You could go to the streaming site. They have a weekly show on Access TV if you're one of the like 50,000 people who get that channel. But like there's ways to watch New Japan. There's YouTube, and familiarize yourself with the wrestlers. None of this existed. So how is anybody supposed to know who most of these guys are? Like Masahiro Chono, like some of these guys have never been on Nitro. They've only been on the weird weekend shows, which we're obviously not on. Like they did such a bad job promoting this, and this whole thing was, I feel, completely unnecessary. And even by the end of the night, you completely forgotten about it. It's not even at all important because the world title thing is such a big news story.
It played out exactly like I would have guessed. Like it's tied and then it was cool now, like in my current knowledge of wrestling, which is still, when it comes to Japanese stuff, pretty limited.
Yeah,
but you're absolutely right. At the time, dude, I mean,
Who the fuck knows about this?
I was at whatever pay-per-view it was when Danielson and Adam Cole and Ruby debuted.
All Out.
And Suzuki came out to go against Moxley. I had no idea who he was. I didn't know.
Oh.
And I'm like a current, I keep up with stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's just showing like, I still don't. So I can't even imagine at that time. I cannot imagine. Like
the only way to watch New Japan at that time was to trade tapes. That's it.
Yeah. So
it wasn't even in video stores. You couldn't go to you just had to know people or like see an ad in the back of a wrestling magazine and trust that they send you a tape. And the tapes are in Japanese.
I feel like maybe they were like, other than Jushin Thunder Liger, they're like, it doesn't matter who any of these guys are because they're just guys for us to be. They sold so hard the Japanese versus the US thing that they're like, it almost doesn't matter. Like they'll learn about them on the fly. But number one, that whole aspect of it is fucking insane because this show starts with Chris Benoit, who is very famously not a U.S. citizen at all. So, like, not from. Also, like, Eddie Guerrero is also not from the States, and neither is Alex Wright. So what
I
are we
believe Eddie
doing?
Guerrero is from. I believe he was born in Texas. He was born in El Paso.
Oh, okay.
But Alex, right? You're right. Germany. Exactly. Yeah, I didn't even.
Is he actually
I didn't
German?
even think about that.
Alex Wright's surname is like the Wunderkind.
Das Wonderkid.
Das Wunderkind. Like, oh, okay.
I didn't even think about
Still,
that.
two guys are not from the United States on your whole
They
USA.
thought about this for like 2 seconds at most.
It's literally just like, how about like, are Eddie's white enough? It's white guys versus Japanese guys.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
fucked
sure they
up.
would say it's WCW versus, but they don't keep it separate. They often go into the nationalistic thing. Yeah.
They cut to a guy in the audience with a little Japanese flag going, and like Sting does like a big USA chant. It's like, no, it's not what this is. This is WCW. It should be like,
Yeah,
What?
I did that. The commercials did say WCW versus Japan. You're right, but then it somehow it got translated to US versus Japan.
Yeah.
Which they should have shied away from. Well, they shouldn't have even done this. This was this felt like such a waste of a show, honestly.
Company
like
versus
a waste
company
of
is
a
cool.
pay-per-view. Like this could have been a Nitro.
at the end of the episode when they're getting the cup, everyone's wearing a USA shirt except for Chris Benoit, who's literally in the corner
Yes.
wearing. By the way, this just arrived in the mail. I got mine too. Look, Chris Benoit is wearing this in the corner, literally going like,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, and it actually was a U.S. versus Japan. You're right. That was the shirt for the pay-per-view. It was U.S. versus Japan because there was also a Japanese flag on it, which was very tacky. Like what?
Yeah.
What Nashvilleian would want to buy a shirt? Would want to wear a shirt in Tennessee with the Japanese flag so prominently displayed? You know, that doesn't bad marketing.
I will say, maybe this has since been edited or whatever. I didn't spot any signs or gestures from crowd members that were
no slurs,
Yeah, nothing like that. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Yeah, just problematic language, not
yeah, truly.
racist.
The worst. We'll get into the worst part, but this first match, Jushin Thunder Liger versus like Chris Benoit. This starts, and I'm like, is this going to be the greatest pay-per-view I've ever seen in my life? That's fucking sick.
It was
as a
a
lineup.
great match.
Yeah.
And it was a little weird seeing Liger being booed. I wasn't used to that.
I'm not. That was wrong. That felt insane.
It was kind of cool to hear them talk about how Liger had a cartoon. Liger's the only wrestler that's been on WCW actively before this, so he's like the only recognizable guy here. And by the way, there's 2 wrestlers on the show that actively wrestled this year. Can you name who they are? One of them is pretty obvious.
Wait, what do you mean?
Like 2 wrestlers who wrestled on Starrcade in '95 wrestled at least one match in 2023.
Jushin Liger?
No.
Oh,
Sting.
Sting.
He retired. Sting is the one. Yeah, the obvious one. And then who's the other one?
Arn?
The other one is Hiroshi Tenzan, the guy who faced Macho Man.
Ric Flair also wrestled this year.
He wrestled last year in 2022. It was his last match.
I thought they did that. This is a bit of.
But yes, time is crazy, but it is wild that there's people from this show 30 years ago.
Holy shit!
Still in the ring.
Sting is the fucking man.
Liger versus Benoit. One of the 2 longest matches on the card.
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
This and the following match were the long matches. The rest of them were pretty quick. This was great.
It was just good wrestling. I don't know how he wrestles with that shit on his head. I'll tell you what. Because I think he has short hair too, so he's wearing like horns, a mask, and hair, all in one thing.
Yeah.
So the wig, the wig is later because this is around the time of Kishin Liger, where Kishin Liger he has long hair when he's Kishin Liger originally.
Okay.
Like when he's pulling it off, he looks. I just saw for like the first time the Kishin Liger thing with it's like him versus Muda, and it's the coolest match maybe of all time.
Mm.
It's really insane. He rips the whole top half of his costume off, and he's a monster. He's got long hair, and he's fucking ripped. He then loses the match, which feels crazy, but it's still awesome.
He was on AEW this year at the Bret Hart thing.
Oh yeah, for like 2 seconds.
For like
Ricky
2
Starks
very disrespectful
had to,
seconds.
had to fly all the way to Canada for that.
I hope he got paid well.
But this was a cool. A lot of terrible. That's the other thing. Why book an event where nobody can lose?
Oh
there
my
were so
God.
many bad finishes.
Yeah.
Like why? You're the writer. Why write yourself into a corner like this? You know, this is wrestling. Anything is possible. As Kevin Sullivan runs out. He's starting this feud now with the Horsemen, which is actually going to be one of the few cool things on TV because this leads to the big Kevin Sullivan, Brian Pillman match and eventually to the weird Chris Benoit feud, which leads to Kevin Sullivan's wife leaving him for Chris Benoit in real life. So he distracts, Sullivan runs out, distracts Benoit, and then Liger does the ugliest head scissor / Frankensteiner I've ever seen, but it looked fine. He got the win. He got the first win. The first one goes to New Japan. WCW has got to come back from behind.
Right. I hate the Taskmaster.
I hate it.
Yeah,
Get the fuck
totally.
out of here.
I always hated him.
What?
It's unnecessary. Unnecessary and not believable.
What?
Not a threat. He's the booker. He's the booker man.
I want to know how he arrived at Taskmaster, because you've told me, Rob, that people found him scary as a Satanist in like the 1970s or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you go from like, because he's clearly like, he's doing like a Son of Sam thing. How do you go from that to I'm the Taskmaster?
Yeah, I don't know how he got Taskmaster. Taskmaster sounds like an underling. It doesn't sound like the boss.
Yeah, right. It sounds like the underboss, the capo. Like
Yeah.
it is less menacing of a name than the Riddler. It is.
Yeah.
So we.
I have a
Makes no
task
sense.
manager on my computer. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's exactly.
Dude,
it sounds like a Web 2.0
I'm the
start.
recycling
The tag-
bin. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's so silly.
He sounds like a game show host. It's like it's a Bob Barker ass gimmick. R.I.P.
And it has nothing to do with
R.I.P.
a Dungeon of Doom or anything. Like, there's no.
Dungeon of
Well, I
Doom.
guess
Cool, like little
Cool
kid
name.
bad guy team name.
Why not Dungeon Master?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a thing. Like,
Yeah.
What? It's just. I just.
Also, no, it looks like they're from a dungeon.
Yeah, he's
in
wearing
the Dungeon of Doom.
yellow and
They all. He's wearing a yellow, like smoking robe. Doesn't look like it looks insane. He's just got weird little eyebrows,
Oh,
and otherwise he looks like a dyed blonde Danny DeVito. I don't get it, and they don't treat him that way. They're like, oh my God, it's the task. Oh no,
Oh, no, yeah.
Well, it's kind of like one of the guys in management, so you want to be nice to them. You know,
Yeah, I
wanna be
guess.
nice. Anyway,
Dude, task manager.
that's great. Then we got our
Got me.
boy Alex Wright in the second match against Koji Kanemoto, who I have never seen before.
I haven't seen either of these guys.
He was pretty sick. This was a great match
This is a good
too.
match.
This was really fun. Both of these guys are working hard. Kanemoto would do these ankle locks, and he would have a crazy like torque to the ankle lock where it looked like he was really ripping the ankle off, which I thought was really cool. They threw in a jab at Jim Cornette in this match because Alex Wright said that, or one of the announcers said that Alex Wright was training in the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
And then Shivani said, the Smoky Mountains, nobody trains up there because Jim Cornette had a promotion called Smoky Mountain Wrestling,
Right.
which was not successful.
Mm.
So
Wow.
that was a slight
I
burn.
remember that comment and I didn't put it together, but that makes sense.
That was a very Jack Perry situation of the time.
Got he. Ugh.
A German boy's tall, huh? He's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's a
I
big
felt
boy.
bad for him. He got like no offense. Kanemoto is super stiff. He has to take all of this stiff stuff that he was even bleeding from the nose. And I feel when you're bleeding from the nose, that's not, intentional. That's a hard way blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say, Alex Wright, the way his gear fits, like his schmeckis in the tights looks like the drawing of the ambiguously gay duo underpants. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
On SNL.
Yes.
He has the most prominent dick in the tights that I think I've ever seen in wrestling.
The phrase is visible penis line, VPL.
Schlong.
VPL, yeah.
Do you know what schlong?
Schlong is also.
Schlong?
But do you know what that is in German? It means
Schlong?
It means snake.
Oh.
It all ties together.
But yeah, he is out there sides piping. He has visible sides pipe.
He is sehr gross.
It's for the after party. It's for the ladies to know that he's out here.
Yeah,
Is everybody else tucking? And he's just no, I will show.
I just think he's just got a fucking hog on him.
Good for him.
He's a tall
People just
guy.
have hogs. It's it was like the Finn Balor thing. I feel when he was wearing the briefs.
Yeah.
He was just hog wild, baby. You would just see that thing smacking people.
You think that's why Finn is he doesn't wear, he's wearing the long, baggy long
Because he's
boys
a heel
now?
now. He doesn't want you to look at his.
You can't see my dick. You can't see my dick now. I'm a baddie.
I'm the real rock and roller.
This match also began the ongoing gag of the pay-per-view. Alex Wright hits a German suplex. Tony Schiavone calls it. Dusty Rhodes is like, where are you getting these words? German suplex. He threw him over his head, baby. He's like, that's the name of the move. He's not making this up. They were fascinated that something was called a German suplex. And this goes on for quite a while. For every move name.
Dude.
Now we're calling them animals and stuff. It's okay.
Yeah.
The best was the finish is a moonsault onto Alex Wright. And in a replay, Bobby the Brain goes, he got him with a somersault, and then it's no, it's the close. And then Dusty goes, nah, it was a flip. He hit him with a flip, baby.
Hit him with a flip. Yeah.
That's so
Loved
good.
it.
That's so good. That's perfect.
It was unbelievable. What a moment.
This guy came out with, didn't he come out with a manager who had a huge Japanese flag? And then he had
Sonny Ono. Sonny Ono managed all of the Japanese talent for no reason.
But then after this, we have Sonny and Mean Gene, right? Isn't there an interview after this match?
Okay, yeah. Well, before that,
Yes.
as Brain does the replay, it's 2-0, and then for some reason he goes, so Japanese, very smart.
I remember
why are
that.
you doing this, Brain?
I remember that.
I know.
Yeah. If that was the first time where I was like, here we go. Here it is.
Yeah, same.
Here we go.
Ugh. Anyway, yeah, so there was the backstage with Bono, as Dusty keeps calling it.
Yeah. And Bono. He says that maybe we're gonna buy. This was really funny, actually. He says we're gonna win, then we're gonna buy WCW, and then maybe we'll buy Iowa. And Mean Gene goes,
that was good.
WCW is not for sale. I don't know about Iowa. I don't know what goes on there. And it's such a good, it's so funny. They're not even in Iowa. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, why Iowa?
But then he also says, maybe we have friends in Dungeons of Doom, which is one of my favorite quotes of the whole pay-per-view. That was fucking awesome. Dude, Mean Gene is incredible.
He's unbelievable.
He's so
the
good.
best.
There's an obvious, the guy's English is very, very good, but there's obviously a little bit of a language barrier, but there's no Gene just he's got it. You know,
Yeah,
he's like
earlier in the show, Eddie
him.
Guerrero had a promo.
Yeah.
And he was being really nervous, you could tell.
Yeah.
And Gene just took over and he started doing Eddie's promo for him. He's like, I saw this young man, Eddie Guerrero, right before this match doing push-ups back here.
Yeah.
He's training, he's preparing. I'm like, you're like his manager. You see what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's, at this point, he's probably done like 5,000 of these, you know, he knows what you got to do.
Listen up, motherfuckers. This guy's big, tough, and strong. He's buff as hell. Look at that beautiful mullet. He's coming out to kick ass. Back to you. Call the hotline. Unbelievable.
What was the next match? Was that Johnny Be Good?
Yes, it was Johnny B. Bad. Oh, no,
Jonathan.
no. It's Lex Luger.
Okay.
With Jimmy Hart taking on Masahiro Chono, who is one of the big guns of New Japan. This is an act, like, if you actually paid attention, this is kind of the biggest dream match of the event, because Chono would be like just the biggest guy. He's like the Okada of the moment there.
Okay.
And they gave him to Lex Luger.
Yeah.
Well, Lex Luger's one of their top guys. This ended up kind of being a big meaty men slapping meat kind of match.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the shit out of each other here. And it was weird because of the jingoism in the crowd, Lex Luger is a face here.
Yeah.
Because nobody's rooting for the Japanese guy, even though he's a heel.
But let's get real. Like, if I was there, I would be like, fuck yeah. Like, of course. Of course I'm rooting. Not only is he American.
That's not fair. He's
from Chicago. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Have we talked about how annoying it would be to wrestle with Jimmy Hart yelling at you through a bullhorn?
Oh, man.
Dude,
it's annoying just to listen to it.
I'm so sensitive to shit like that. Like, when a fucking fire engine or whatever goes by, if I'm on the street, I get like unreasonably mad. Like, someone better be fucking dying if this ambulance siren is killing me right now. It's unreasonable. If I'm wrestling and he's right there doing the fucking, come on, baby, you got him. Like, I'm going to fucking lose it.
He already talks like a Ninja Turtles bad guy. And then you're adding the megaphone. So it's all awful frequency just coming out, yelling the entire time.
Does he sing? Is this the time where he sings a little bit of the Star Spangled Banner and it's like perfect? The camera's over his shoulder, his right shoulder. He looks back and he goes, "Oh, say, can you see?" And
that's right.
And somebody in the commentary goes, even though he's the heel manager, somebody in commentary goes, "Sing it, Jimmy." Like, it's just so like everything's out the window. It doesn't matter.
I think that was Bobby.
Yeah. That makes sense. But like, oh, it's so fucking good, dude. It's so good.
Another incredible moment just happened on the screen for Bo, which is Metallicat just walked right into Colin's mirror.
Yeah. Cats do not abide by the laws of physics, dude. You don't know shit about
sure
cats.
Do not. That went straight to Narnia.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
Didn't Jimmy Hart wrote the Shawn Michaels song, right?
Yeah,
like
he wrote it, and it's him doing the girl voices. That's Jimmy Hart going, oh, Shawn. Yeah. Yes.
I thought that was sensational.
I mean, it's already not.
I'm telling you, I'll double check right now.
Okay.
Already, that's really not appealing.
But he did a lot.
Song is a very not sexy song about a sexy man.
He also did the Sting song that you hear, the Hulk Hogan song. That's all JimmyArt, baby. The Steiners.
They're all real bad. James.
So I had to sing back. Jimmy says, so we went in, knocked it out. So Sherry Martel did the first version of it.
The original version. Yeah.
Vince heard it and said, let's have Sean do it. Get Sean in the studio. So they kind of scrapped it. And he says, so we went in, we knocked it out in about an hour's time. I had to sing the backups doing Sexy Boy because we didn't have a girl singers in that particular track. So it's not him doing the Sean part. He's doing the Sexy Boy. That's Jimmy Hart.
Okay. Woo. Amazing. I didn't know that.
That's what and
learned something.
The fact that HBK, I mean, I don't think he's been on TV or whatever in a minute, but the fact that he still uses that song
forever.
Crazy.
Come on.
It's an all-timer.
It's an all-timer.
Oh, say, can you see?
So best exchange during this match on commentary. Chono hits the Mafia kick.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a running straight kick. And Dusty goes, where are you getting all this? German suplex, Mafia kick. They kicked it with the bottom of a 12.5 foot in the mush. Ain't got nothing to do with the Mafia, baby. Just caught him with a Sicilian elbow, a Yugoslavian elbow. And then Bobby's getting it on this. Kicked him in the Bosnian butt.
Yeah. I loved that.
So
I
good.
loved
They were
all
having
of that.
so much fun.
Yeah. You know, one thing we didn't talk about, it happened by now. They have all the commentators sitting, and the camera frames their entire bodies sitting in folding chairs. So we're just staring at their crotches. Like there's no table.
Right.
So you're just looking at
Right.
Dusty's fucking junk.
Yeah.
And they
Just
all
loose
look
knuckle.
so uncomfortable and just like awkward. And it's so fucking. How did nobody get them a table?
Or
The
just
table is on the opposite side.
Or
the
wait,
table
wait.
is facing the ring, and they turn from the table to face the cameras.
Why?
also here's how you fix that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, of course. Just angle it up a little bit.
Pan up.
Zoom in. But Jesus
What?
Christ. Put a
Oh my
graphic
God.
there or something. Like I couldn't. When I saw it, I was like, this. It makes it look very. Again, if I paid for the pay-per-view at the time, I would have been pissed. I would have been like,
Are you losing your mind at this horn that's honking right now?
I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. If I paid for the pay-per-view at the time, I would have been like, well, why does this seem so like rinky-dink? Because it seems different.
It did feel like the set felt pretty basic. It
Yeah.
felt very
Yeah.
thrown together at the last
Yeah.
minute. Even the lighting setup
Yes.
looked
bad.
pretty cheap. And you never really notice that kind of stuff. And this is their WrestleMania. This
Yeah,
is
right.
the biggest show of the year for them. So
They literally said
very
it's
weird.
the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah,
which is
granddaddy
so
of them all. Yeah.
Which is that's the WrestleMania term, right? Also,
yeah, I don't think
Think
they
so.
were the first ones to say it, but yeah, definitely.
Well,
So
either way, very funny that that WrestleMania
That they're
now uses
co-opting
that,
Yeah,
and then
they
you're
used
like,
it back then too.
Well,
So, for sure.
even like, well, that's so funny to hear that. And then Eric Bischoff is like, that wasn't our WrestleMania. Dude, they're saying it on the show. They're going, this is our big show.
yeah,
You fucking maniac.
yeah.
Crazy.
Lex wins, right?
Lex wins. This is the first win for
First win.
WCW.
Mhm.
During the replay, Dusty calls the replay, and at the end he says, "Take that in your rickshaw brain and take it back to your hotel." Sweet. And then
Oh
Bobby
my
responds,
God.
"Sweet and sour this dream."
Oh my God. So there you go. That's Dusty.
That's
Sir.
sir.
It gets so bad. After
Well, it's
this,
about to
right?
get as bad as it gets.
It gets
Yes.
as bad as it gets.
What's her name?
The Diamond Doll Kimberly.
Diamond Dog.
So it's Johnny B. Bad with the Diamond Doll Kimberly versus Masa Saito, a legend. And Bobby
name.
Heenan points out that he once managed Masa Saito in AWA. This guy's been around forever.
He also comes out to like I know it's a rights free track, but I'm like, this is like a Tupac beat. It's kind of awesome.
Oh, dude, we didn't even talk about the music.
Some of the Japanese themes are heat. Like when it's later on, but when Kensuke Sasaki comes out, it sounds exactly like This Must Be the Place by Talking Heads, and I'm like, how did they license that?
Yeah, I wonder what their music was in Japan. And like why they didn't use those, because you would think, like I just wonder about
I
that.
don't know.
There's no way it was bing bong bong. Like there's no way
No.
it was that. So I just
No.
wonder. It's probably just cheaper, and they just
Probably just like sick guitar solos.
yeah,
Because like that's still what they're doing.
yeah, right.
They're still like, they're still like Marty Friedman, give us something.
Yeah,
And Marty's like, I got you.
I got all of it.
I'm a hero.
I have every riff.
Yep.
What does this idiot say in the ring?
So Sonny Bono grabs the mic and says,
Oh,
Kimberly
yeah.
shouldn't be allowed at ringside. Kimberly just waves her finger, says she won't leave. She grabs the mic and says, "This isn't a Japanese bathhouse, and she isn't some basic woman." She asks Ono what he's.
She calls.
Not yet.
She's like, and I ain't no geisha.
Oh, geisha. Maybe this might have been my autocorrect because I was trying to write it down so quickly.
Yeah, she says geisha.
Okay. Yeah. I ain't no geisha. She asks Ono what he's gonna do if she doesn't leave the ring, and they both just leave the ring.
Well, dude, wait. She
Did I miss
calls.
something?
Yeah, she calls him Hop Sing.
She sure does.
Oh,
Like, so,
I totally
so
missed that.
in 20 seconds, you get sexism, you get racism, and you get like the opposite of humor. The three worst things.
Yeah.
Just like,
The three worst things you can do. The third being the worst. Not being funny.
get
Yeah.
out of here.
You're gonna
if
be
do
racist
those
and
first
not
two things,
funny?
Yeah,
Be
you gotta
hilarious.
really you gotta be fucking hilarious.
Like, I know,
Exactly.
I know that in New Japan they didn't have and still don't have women's wrestling. So I wonder whose idea that was to like point out.
Well, the thing is, they might not have women's wrestling in New Japan, but right now, at this moment, there is a huge women's wrestling thing happening in Japan with All Japan women.
With All
Like we
Japan.
saw those women on the last pay-per-view that were super badass. So women's wrestling is very respected in Japan.
But it's in a different
It's
promotion.
separate, but
Right.
it's separate. Yes.
So I just wonder if it was like Bischoff being like, "Hey, you should say this," and then she'll
Oh,
say, you
absolutely.
know.
This is Southern Wrestling 101.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, this is totally just dated WCW stuff. This is what used to work, you know?
Yeah.
But 30 years later, it looks very bad. It looks outdated even then.
It's so bad.
Hey, don't call out the fact that we don't have women's wrestling. We do. They're in a different promotion, separate but equal. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Yeah, that sucked.
It
Yeah.
sucked.
The match
She-
is cool. Johnny be good.
Kimberly,
Kind of goes.
Johnny be bad,
Sorry, Johnny. Be Good.
rocks.
Right.
Kimberly, like, I feel so bad that they are doing this to her because this is the second time she talks in WCW, period. And even the first one is one of the worst promos ever. She is a terrible actress, and that's fine because she was not required to do any acting
Right.
before this.
Just
They
look
probably were just like,
Good.
can she do something? And she is trying her best, and it's really hard for her. And they're giving her the worst stuff. She has said probably with this and the other promo, she has maybe said the worst stuff in the history of WCW. It's crazy. Poor girl. I
Yeah.
feel bad for her.
There was a Russian leg trip during this, and Dusty goes, "What country have we been to?"
Like 300 of them, Dusty. A whole bunch.
There was a weird DQ finish here, which, like, why are they protecting Masa? I guess Masa Saito didn't want to take a loss, so Johnny B. Bad gets the victory.
Oh yeah, what was the DQ? Over the top rope or something?
Yeah, they
what?
just have that's a weird rule that they're still doing in WCW. You cannot throw a person over the top rope. That is a DQ. That is too dangerous.
So if I throw someone over, I get disqualified, and that's what he does.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. You'll notice in the main event when the ref gets knocked down, only then does Ric Flair throw Sting over the top rope. And so yeah, it's a thing that they use. It's the worst rule. They've very soon after this, I feel like they dump this rule because it's so dated.
Very dated, yeah. It slows down the trajectory of how people.
I couldn't.
work.
I truly couldn't believe when that happened, and I was because you
weak.
what, dude. Also, what the fuck are they talking about? I watched. I like if you watch NWA like Ric Flair versus Steamboat, they are doing nothing but throwing each other over the top rope. That's fucking Ric Flair's main bump is you kick him over the top rope.
They only instituted it like a year or two prior to this. So it's a relatively new rule even in WCW because it's from Mid-South Wrestling. They brought in the booker from Mid-South, so he added all these rules and they never got rid of it. It's weird.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
That's-
stupid. Don't want to over.
It's an old rule, but it's not that old. That's insane.
So now it's 2-2.
Now it is 2-2. Yes, tied up. Then we got Shinjiro Otani, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight
Right.
Champion,
Right.
taking on Eddie Guerrero in
Rocked.
a great match that the crowd could not give a shit about until one amazing top rope Huracan Rana. Then they were like game on for this one.
It was cool, but it was like late. Eddie gets flipped, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
Eddie get flipped? And he kind of like late reacts, you know? He like kind of misses.
Oh, my right knee.
Yeah. But yeah, it's so funny to see Eddie and Chris Benoit and people of the who would later become so like
Iconic.
renowned and iconic to see them and stuff like this. And
Both
Yeah,
of them
agreed.
losing. on
and
this
both
show.
of them losing, yeah. Maybe that's why Benoit was pissed.
No,
Oh,
I think
absolutely. They were not treated with respect, but like they were both kind of scrubs at this point. They do eventually get like a better win
And-
percentage.
and also I think it's that, and also like Benoit is proudly Canadian, and they're making him like, you're on the U.S. team, and he's like, I'm not. I'm fucking not, man.
not.
What are you talking?
It is
about?
funny because
bruh.
like you know, in the 90s during the Dream Team, Tony Kukoc went and played on his home team in the Olympics, and Jordan like gave him a hard time because he's not American.
Right.
You know, so like even by like Olympic rules, like it actually doesn't make sense that they would have foreigners on the
No.
There's
US
so
team.
much about this that doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, of course.
This whole fucking thing doesn't make sense.
Can I ask you a question, Rob? So
Yeah.
this invasion angle sucks. Eventually I know that or at least I've heard that the NWO angle doesn't really result in a WCW versus NWO kind of tournament or anything. And also the WCW versus WWE invasion angle also sucks. Has there ever been one of these that it's like that fucking ruled? Has there
feel
ever
like it
been an
always-
invasion angle?
So I haven't seen it, but I've read that when I read Antonio Inoki's obituary,
Mhm.
there was an invasion angle that he did in the late 80s that supposedly was really good because he ended up owning both promotions. So he like there wasn't that political stuff, even though the promotion he owned first won. But yeah, those things are really hard to pull off because it's give and take, and you don't want to make your guys look weak. So someone's
But
got to
e-
look like the loser.
It's so
That's
weird.
why these things never pay off. They're never as good as advertised.
Yeah.
it
But
feels.
even the WCW WWE one is when they buy WCW, right? Like they own it.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's
but the-
pride there, you know.
Yeah, and
It's
they didn't
so
buy
dumb.
out any of the contracts of the big stars, so it was very lopsided. There weren't any big stars on the WCW side, so then they had all these WWE guys turn and join WCW to like even it out, and then it was just like, all right, this is a mess.
That's
It was totally sucked.
The
It sucked
NWO
so bad.
and Outsiders thing was cool because it wasn't set up. There wasn't a
Right.
Obviously, it was set up, but it wasn't like there's a tournament. Here come these guys. It's
yeah, they're just fucking with the show.
yeah, and they're
And-
coming
Yeah.
in through the crowd and using
And
like,
they're
the
all
real names.
guys that were in WWF 2 weeks ago. So
Right.
you're like, is this a WWF
Yeah.
invasion? You know, as a kid, because again, this is really before gossip websites. The internet wasn't like
Right.
was still AOL. So the only way to get like wrestling news would be some newspapers would have a once a week column, or you would have a like local hotline, which was an answering machine. That's it.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
what
like,
did they
there's no-
What happened. I mean, we'll get to it
NWO?
eventually. Yeah, like do they eventually? Is it just Sting versus Hogan? Is that the WCW versus NWO
It
thing?
becomes WCW versus NWO, but then eventually everybody becomes NWO.
Right.
Like they don't want to let the momentum die, and then it splits into Hollywood and Wolfpack.
Yeah,
like
then the NWO
certain-
starts feuding within itself,
And then
there's two NWOs.
and then it comes to a head where it's Nash versus Hogan, and he does the finger point, and Hogan wins, and they just hug it out and they unify again. So it's like 2 or 3 years of booking and this division, and like the Wolfpack shit was cool. I remember thinking it was cool as a kid,
Yeah,
and then it like resets.
they overstayed the welcome for like at least a year.
Yeah,
And there was never a conclusion. They never ended it. It just kind of faded out.
speaking of
What?
did you catch? By the way, Dusty Rhodes is eventually NWO too, so we have a future NWO.
That was the one heel turn. You were like, oh, is he ever healed? That was it.
That
Yeah.
was it.
I
Technically,
didn't want to say it.
but they're so
Damn.
beloved. Did either of you catch Jeff Jarrett mentioning NWO to Dennis Rodman the other night?
Oh, I
Yes.
missed
Yeah,
that.
at one point he
did.
says,
They are both former NWO.
at one point he
members.
says, I was the leader of a certain group that you and I were both a part of, or something
That's
along
right.
those lines, you know. And it was just like a fun, like, oh yeah.
That's fucking crazy. That's so crazy. It's weird that like, well, because now like we have an AEW who has a good relationship with New Japan, like, and they have a paper. They have 2 pay-per-views
Yeah.
now where they're gonna do this. Why not do a long build to one of these?
I still don't
And
think
do a-
that the general, the main audience cares or knows about Japanese wrestlers. I just don't. I don't
Sure.
think that's
still think
changed.
I
the
think you're
information is
absolutely
easier
right.
there, but yeah, it's not as good. Because even when we went to Forbidden Door, some of the guys were doing their signature stuff, the New Japan guys, and nobody in the arena knew what was going on.
No,
Well, that's why I'm saying why not do a longer build so people know
Yeah.
who these folks
Oh,
are?
I see
Like,
what you mean.
do a long
Yeah.
program where it's like, all right, we've had 2 Forbidden Doors. Like maybe after this one, be like New Japan's pissed because
they keep losing.
now it's like,
Yeah.
well, it's like Bryan Danielson, like the 2 best wrestlers in the world had a match, and Bryan beat Okada, and they can be fucking mad about it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, you beat our top guy, or whatever. You can come up with a reason, but maybe do a long build so we know who these folks are, because they have good talent. Like Zack Sabre Jr. is incredible. Everybody loves Suzuki and Ishii.
Mhm.
I don't know, like build it up, tell the story. Like the story doesn't have to just be like these guys wrestled in another on another channel.
I
like,
really
tell
do,
me.
I really do think the reason why is the same reason it's always been. There's a niche group that really likes Japanese wrestling and will tune in and watch Japanese. And like I watched Wrestle Kingdom, you know, like I get it. Like there are certain things that I'll tune into for sure.
Totally.
But I'm self-admittedly like I'd say a medium level fan. I think it's like it's advanced shit to
Totally
know about that.
It requires a lot of commitment too, time and keeping up with the schedule. It's not easy to keep up with it.
That's why I'm saying tell the story on AEW.
Maybe
like,
Right.
it's just
Well,
a
they
risk.
have barely enough
everything.
time to tell their own story.
Yeah.
You know what
Fair
I mean?
enough.
Maybe it's just a
Yeah.
risk. I don't know.
But I agree. There's ways to do it. Anyway, so Otani gets the win here. Obviously, he's not the IWGP Junior Champion's not taking a loss.
Yeah.
But the last few minutes of this was really, really good. Then we got Macho Man doing a promo where an insane print, all the different animal prints just collaged with different fluorescent colors. Beautiful stuff.
He does a thing that always cracks me up where he turns his back to the camera when he's doing his look around thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's always so funny to me. It gets me every time.
he turns away from the camera, but it's purely so he can go. Woo!
Yeah. Right. It's for the theatrics.
It's for the turn.
He's the man.
He is
so good.
the Macho Man.
Yeah, he is
Just
the Macho Man.
Like fully Lisa Franked. It's so sick.
Yes. And
He
really,
looks unbelievable.
This rewind that we've been doing has really cemented to me that how much I loved Macho Man. And
Macho
I
Man?
kind of forgot, honestly, because, you know, he's not around and he's not one of the people that like they show nostalgia for. So you have to look for it yourself.
Macho Man, Flair,
Sting, for sure.
and Sting are just like, oh shit, like these were the guys. You know, you really get it. What's the next match?
Yeah. So it's Savage versus Tenzon. This was a nothing thing. Again, Savage barely has a functioning arm.
Yeah, he's
So
he does
this
a
was
sick elbow drop though.
Yes. This is a
Sick.
really, and that was the only offense he really had. His matches, I realized the pattern is, all right, 5-minute match. You could beat me up for 4.5 minutes, and then I do my 30-second comeback. Boom, boom, boom. Elbow drop. We're out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
mean, because
fine.
he's injured as fuck. He's a fully, like, he looks like he got a half sleeve tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, it's brutal.
The writing was on the wall for the tournament thing. Like, obviously, they were going to win, or WCW was going to win.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I will say, all of this played out. The whole pay-per-view played out exactly as we predicted. When we had talked about it before, we knew America was going to win. We kind of guessed the triangle match and then what that meant too for the main.
Yeah, exactly. It was very predictable. There was no suspense in this event. It kind of felt like a giant exhibition until the triangle match. I thought, but so this Sting versus Kensuke Sasaki, they tried to, it's a tie 3-3. They're saying Sasaki had just beaten Sting for the U.S. title. But of course, the Stinger's going to win, baby.
Yeah.
And this match was kept short because, again, Sting has to wrestle next. Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
There was a great gag in between these matches. I quickly want to acknowledge. They cut back to the announcers. Tony and Dusty are facing the camera. And then they like Heenan is still facing the monitors. So Tony bumps him. And then Heenan does a total farcical fall over. Everybody breaks character.
Everybody.
Even they cut to Mean Gene
Mean
in the back.
Gene,
Even
yeah.
Mean Gene is laughing.
Dude, it is
so good.
Jim Carrey slapstick-esque. It is so
unbelievable.
Fucking funny. And Tony Schiavone's laughing immediately. Immediately, he's like, hey, and then he just immediately he breaks. It is so fucking funny. I rewound it like 3 times. I laughed so fucking hard.
Dude,
I loved that.
I love that. My my girlfriend, anytime that I like lightly tap her or touch her, every time she goes, every time, and it cracks me up immediately. And that's that level. Like, Tony is barely touching him and he's flat. It's so good.
It's so fucking funny. And I wonder if
It's
that
so
is
fun.
a comment on the fact that they have to, I wonder if that's his way of kind of ribbing production.
Yeah.
To be like, we got to turn
to keep
around
turning
and the
around.
desk
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
wrong way. Why don't we have swivel fucking chairs? What are you doing?
Great point.
The shot of them, are they doing it because the Nitro shot is the desk is away from the ring and you see the audience in the ring behind them.
Yeah.
And that admittedly looks fucking incredible.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
But just have 2 desks. Have them sandwiched.
I believe
Yeah.
that Nitro announce station is rotating too. So they can do. Yeah. So why not?
That's
I
so
don't know.
good.
It's crazy. But
Or that's also why like most announce tables are in front of the crowd, in front of the ring, so you can see the crowd behind them.
Yeah.
It's why you don't have to put them like by the pretzel stand. Like they can be
Yeah.
they can be next to the ring. I don't know.
Yeah, that part was incredible. It showed you that like Bobby knows exactly what he's doing. Like at all times, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, they all
I
love
love that.
So Sting, I want to mention, had an incredible jacket. Unbelievable. Like, he actually, I think, beats Macho Man for best jacket of the night.
Ooh.
For his entrance. I know that's a
Hot
tough
take.
thing.
It's a hot take right there, Robert.
Crowd was dead for the heat. They don't care about Sasaki. They don't care about any of these Japanese guys.
No.
Only once Sting fought out of the Scorpion Deathlock that Sasaki put him into, did they wake up. Boom, boom, boom. Sting wins. USA, USA.
Champagne in the cup. Yeah.
It got the cup ceremony. Johnny B. Bad, amazing black pinstripe pants. I noticed when they were doing the recap for the triangle match, they're the exact same black pinstripe pants that Lex Luger wore a few weeks ago with the matching top.
Oh my God.
Exact same
Oh,
pants.
that's the Carmela Soprano.
Yes.
The business suit.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
He was
power
wearing
suit.
He was just wearing the slacks, Johnny B. Bad. All right. And then we get the triangle match.
If you
I have
kick in
to
those
say-
suits, it's the mafia kick.
Dude, triangle match. So this is what I was saying before, is like, we kind of figured out that because of who was wrestling when and Savage being injured, that Flair was going to win.
Yeah.
And that also meant because Savage was injured and was probably needed a break, Flair was going to win.
Yep.
And sure enough, like, the triangle match was awesome. I really
I
enjoyed
really
it.
like this gimmick, this
Yeah.
idea that one person has to be tagged in. I
So-
thought it would be stupid, but I like it better.
Yeah,
I
no,
think.
the moment when Flair finally tags Luger and Luger has to come in and face Sting and Flair's like, like, I got him.
Yeah.
That was when I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is sick.
So
Yeah.
I want to
Good.
mention the psychology of this match was amazing. Obviously, Ric Flair's in this match.
Yeah, yeah.
He's carrying this whole thing. So Sting had just wrestled, so he wants to start out the match because he's already warmed up. He doesn't
Ready to
want to
go.
like tighten up. Luger's had his time to break, so Sting starts in it with Flair. They go like another 5-10 minutes. Flair is fresh, so of course Sting is the first person to get tagged out, and Luger sneaks in a tag, and Sting is like, "Whoa, what the hell?" It was the first sign of tension with Luger and Sting. Then Luger goes like 5-10 minutes with Flair, and then as a viewer, I'm like, how come Sting hasn't tagged in? I want to see Sting versus Luger. This is
Right.
this is the big thing, you know. And they set the psychology of that up perfectly
Yeah.
to where after Flair is done being beat up, he's like you said, Bo.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to make you two fight. How about that? And then that's when the crowd stands up
That, yeah,
and
that,
like
that was
they're
the
paying
moment.
attention.
Oh, dude, you just reminded me when Sting wins the tournament, somebody goes, "The crowd is standing up." Like, that's it. That's the like,
That's it.
holy shit, they're standing. But yeah, this is awesome. Flair is so fucking good. He does those like shoulder checks into Luger and like sells him really
yes.
good. And like, I don't know, dude. It's so funny that like he already is starting to look like melting ice cream in his life,
Yes.
He's
got the
an action
pancake
figure
tits.
in the microwave.
but he fucking rocks.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's like no,
And once Sting and Luger are in the ring, the match kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Like, the crowd
yeah.
is dead. They're just punch kicking. They're not doing anything. It was only until they got to the big climax,
yeah.
which is, but before we get to the climax, there's a few great Dusty quotes. First, Tony says, it's Sting getting a rush of adrenaline. Dusty goes, "Did you just say Russian adrenaline?"
So quick, dude. And
I thought he was going to say Russian dressing, and I was going to lose it.
somebody gorilla presses and they say
Yes.
gorilla and animal. But I just noticed, I can't remember if it was Luger pressing Flair or Sting pressing Flair, but somebody does it.
It was Luger pressing Flair because it was a brutal
Well, dude,
press slam.
I just happened to notice they full on just grab dick. Like it's full on, just like here's your dick.
I always wonder that, and like you're kind of giving them like one in the stink too, as well. It's so
that
weird.
seems
It must be
really
so
big.
It's a taint grab.
Yeah, that seems
Yeah.
really painful. That would hurt.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I feel
so
like
he
you
does
got to be generous by putting the pressure of like the inner thigh,
Yeah, on
letting the
thumb.
mush hang out the side,
Yeah, yeah.
and then so you're
Yeah.
kind of just doing
Well, a lot of times it
taint
is.
and
A lot of times
pelvis
it is
slip.
thumb on thigh. You'll notice, but this one was just like full on
Well,
Like
they know
Luger
each
just
other.
grabbed Dick, just full
They
on.
go way back.
Well, also,
You know they've had orgies together. They're fine.
yeah, those two
well,
specifically.
When they do the gorilla slam, Dusty goes, "Now it's a gorilla slam. It's not a German slam." and when Flair was playing possum, he's like, "What are you talking about, possum? He's not. He don't got spikes. He's not playing possum. What do you mean possum?"
Oh my god, so fucking
Okay.
funny. The climax is
ending-
incredible. The finish of this
Fantastic
match is
ending. Like
perfect.
if you have this dilemma of you don't want anyone to take a loss,
yeah,
which again, why book this? But fine. This was the most tasteful way to book this disappointing finish, which is Luger finally gets Sting in a torture rack. And I'm like, oh shit. I didn't think this could happen.
Yeah.
And then the ref gets kicked over. The classic torture rack kicks the ref down.
yeah.
Flair sees what's going on. He knows what he needs to do.
Yep.
Chop block, beautiful chop block, looked vicious.
Yeah.
Luger falls out, throws Sting over the top rope, a disqualification. The ref doesn't see it. But now both of those guys are messed up
Yeah.
out of the ring. Flair goes back on the apron, wakes the ref up, and we get a count out victory.
Well, and a count out because Luger grabs Sting too. So it sets
Oh,
up.
right. Yes.
sets up
Yes. I
them.
forgot that important detail. Sting was just about to make the 10 count.
He had it,
and
yeah.
Luger says no, and then kind of apologized, like, oh, sorry, I had to do that. But no, you didn't. You lost. You cost the match for yourself too by doing that.
Awesome finish.
Great.
I
great.
think,
Yeah,
because
really
finish.
good finish. If they didn't do crappy finishes the rest of the show, this would have been 10 times better. But it was still a great finish.
Flair wins
Again-
doing sneaky stuff. Luger finally kind of turns on Sting, like officially.
Luger is full on heel.
Sting looks like he could have done it. He got
Doofus.
robbed. Like it all worked really well.
Yeah,
Yeah, everyone looked good. Everyone was protected, let's
Yes.
say. No one looked like a wimp.
Yeah.
Then we get Michael Buffer getting his paycheck for no reason.
Dude, but there's like a production confusion where it's like, let's go to Michael Buffer. Well, we were going to Michael Buffer, and he's just
Yes,
standing
I
there.
did like Schiavone was pissed.
Yeah.
The match was nothing, and really at this point I felt so bad for Macho Man. Like just end it. And if you and as great as the schmaz finish in the last match was, this was total chaos. The Horsemen come out, Pillman falls into the ref. So the ref has to pretend to like try to kick Pillman out to like be distracted from Arn coming in with the brass knucks. Ric Flair
Dude.
gigs himself way too hard.
Well, here's the thing.
Because he's a blood fountain.
I watched this several times, right? So it's the Jimmy Hart megaphone.
Yep.
Is what's initially used, but I don't think that's what did it. And then what's crazy is if you watch, Flair never touches his head.
Oh, he
It's
never did.
Macho Man does. Macho Man gets on top of him and is at his head. And Flair's arms are kind of by his side. I think Macho Man did it and just kind of whoopsie. Because they would do that for each other sometimes too.
Yep.
Right.
And then
I'm
Macho
surprised
goes-
Flair would
And then
Yeah.
Macho goes up for an elbow.
That was
Well, it might
that
be-
looked
It
brutal.
is-
They couldn't even do the interview segment at the end
Yeah,
because he
yeah.
had to go get stitched up.
It is bad.
Yeah, I think he might have bladed himself because he gets bonked with the megaphone and then falls down. What, like when they do the blading,
Yeah.
I found out like it doesn't immediately start bleeding. You got to bonk it. So when like they do the blade and then like probably what happened is Macho Man was like noogie and then it starts. So he
Yeah,
probably
maybe.
started. He probably initiated
Watch it back
the blood.
and try to find like the actual moment. And it's weird.
Yeah,
It's a weird one. But I mean,
It's
it
probably
pays off.
weird.
It's fucking insane.
It's crazy.
You know what's so funny is like, again, I expected Flair to win. Once he won the triangle match, I was like, okay, well, he's probably gonna win. And I was still like, oh fuck yeah, all right. Like I was still like,
Yeah.
cool.
And
this
you know what?
is
The
cool.
crowd was totally cheering the Horsemen. They
Yeah.
loved it. They loved
Absolutely.
all the heel shit.
Dude, Arn coming in. It was brass knuckles, is what he had.
Yeah. He had like wrapped brass knuckles. It looked like.
Awesome. Everything. I loved the end. Pillman whipping Macho Man with the belt.
Oh, it was so good.
And they start calling him the loose cannon. I think this is the first time I've heard them refer to him as that on the show.
Yeah. It was good.
I loved this.
What's his
And it's-
Paul Orndorff comes out?
Why?
Oh yeah, well, because they beat him up on Nitro
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Remember, they put him in a pile driver and all that. They did that gang thing. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Yeah, I
doing a
totally
Roger-
forgot about that too.
Yeah.
Doing a Roderick Strong coming out
Yeah.
mad in a neck brace.
In a neck brace. Yeah, literally. Yeah.
So watching the Ric Flair is the champion again. And we've all talked about how we're watching Flair and like it's like his work is so beautiful. I thought I'm going back to what I talked about in the last episode with like how does Hogan not realize that his like him constantly having his hands on the steering wheel is hurting everybody, including himself. And I realized the kind of analogy I was kind of thinking of is it's like he has a similar Metallica trajectory where
Excuse
it's
me.
just like he's in a position where like post his prime, he's making a lot of decisions that are just not working out. Like maybe not monetarily, but he knows that people are not. I'm surprised there was never a Rick Rubin Death Magnetic conversation. Do you know what I'm talking about, Bo?
Lars was right, dude. That's all I'm gonna say.
Lars was right.
Lars was right.
But do you know what I'm talking about,
Um,
Rob? The like where Rick Rubin sits them down and goes, this is during Death Magnetic, and he's like, everything you've made since Master of Puppets has been a disappointment. we are making Master of Puppets again.
I didn't hear this.
And they go, okay.
I would have said, you're fucking fired, Rick. Bye.
Yeah,
Greatest selling
Thank
heavy record of all time. It was a disappointment.
yeah. Like
Get
I'm
lost.
sorry.
Get lost.
And also, Justice is great.
And also, Rick Rubin worked on fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers. He did Around the World. Rick Rubin, okay.
Yeah, I know.
Around the World. Get lost, Rick. All right.
Well, that song also made a shit. Either way, like the tale behind that is like,
Yeah, I got you.
at a certain point, like you got are you like you hit a point where it's like, all right, I should probably hand the keys over because you're watching
Yeah.
your contemporaries get the reactions that you should be getting. Like you see someone out there like Flair who's like, this guy's eating pins and he's
Yeah.
not losing anything. Like
Yeah.
you're watching the show and when no one can fucking lose, it's a goddamn disaster.
Dude, he also,
Someone's got to fucking lose.
you know, the YouTube algorithm, sometimes I don't watch Joe Rogan or anything like that, but Hogan was on Rogan recently. And because I watch so much fucking wrestling stuff, a clip from him on there came onto my algorithm. So I obviously watched it. And he says something along the lines of like, oh, that was around the time I was doing NWO there with Eric Bischoff. Doesn't even mention the two guys who actually like did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, I truly think he's just, he flew into the glass ceiling so hard that he got CTE at that moment in the,
Yeah.
you know, in the early 90s. And like, that was just it.
I'm now seeing that this was actually Hulk Hogan's decision in the Observer to give Flair the title that he
Well-
won.
Well, Jordan, no, but I mean, but it makes sense. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day. You know what I mean?
I think he wanted it because he knows that it's not a threat. Like Macho Man having it is too much of a threat for Hogan.
Right. So he's like, and I'll beat, like, he's like, Flair will lose to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly
And
that.
we haven't even watched it yet, but I know that's what.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Lars was right.
But well,
Flair's
actually,
right.
I'm not sure if Flair loses it to him, but there is some shenanigans abound.
You don't say. On this program, no way.
It's cool that Flair gets his belt. It's like nice to see.
Yeah.
It made me feel good. He had to
I agree.
run for some
It
stitches.
feels
very
like a
historical.
fitting. It feels historic. It also feels fitting for the ending of this season and
Mhm.
you know the journey that we've had for these past few months. That the guy who the title is made for, like he ends up with it. It's a proper ending of this chapter
Hell yeah.
of these stories.
Yeah, you know, I don't know why I'm doing Borat all of a sudden, but
this is 95. When does NWO come? 98?
very soon.
Oh, soon.
April or May of
They come in
96.
96? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Wow, sick.
In fact, I think there was a Gene Okerlund hotline plug where he hints at like this earth-shattering news, and I think that's Kevin Nash and Scott Hall's contracts coming up because they're just about to be up in the next month or two. Yes.
Can't wait.
So
Wow.
things are 96 is a transformational year
Yeah.
for professional wrestling. And
It'll be cool to see like the even the venues change in size. And
oh yeah, and
things
also
like that,
well,
you know?
they do a few months of tapings of Nitro at the Disney MGM studios in the summer, so it's a really cool outdoor vibe. It looks really, really cool. It's a very cool set, and it's at sunset. You know, it's
Yeah.
like dusk. It's like
Oh,
it's like those daily play
yeah.
shows
Yeah, I think I can
for
remember that.
AEW. Yeah, it was really cool.
How exciting.
It's exciting. Thank you for joining us for 1995. Any final thoughts on 95 before we get the heck out of here?
I am really glad that I was so unaware of this shit at the time because I think it would have turned me off of wrestling at the time. All I knew
Fair.
about WCW at this time was the N64 games. That's it. And with that,
They were
you can
good.
kind of, you know, it's choose your own adventure kind of a thing. But by April is when I would have, that is probably when I started checking back and forth between the two. So we're getting there.
That's when things got heated up. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jordan, how was your experience?
Insane. I think watching this has it's strange to watch wrestling that in one section where it's like this is so different from what I know of wrestling, but also seeing it have all the same kind of like inner workings as modern wrestling. Like it's weird that a lot of the same problems that modern wrestling happens still exist in like 1995. You know?
Oh yeah.
Wrestling being referential to wrestling is like a gift and also a curse at the same time.
Very
Interesting.
deep.
Yeah, that was deep.
Deep.
Well, keep up with us on socials, Nitropod, Knitropod, for announcements on when season 2 is coming. We're taking a bit of a hiatus. And thank you for taking this ride with us. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed watching and ranting about it. Maybe you learned something about wrestling too.
Yeah.
I love to learn things.
I live to learn.
I live to learn. Folks.
Until then, check out 2 Minutes to Late Night. Check out Hard Lore. Check out Squared Circle. Pick plenty of podcasts to keep you busy while we're gone. Jordan, take us out of here.
Good Nitro.